So Manchester is actually the biggest medical school in the UK. Even if you're in first year, it's going to be the same exam that the 5th years are taking. Is that like yours?
No.
No, okay.
Oh,
so
that's
basically
weird.
everyone fails it in year 1.
I know you said that you lived at home in first year, but do you have a rough idea of like how much rent would have been? I personally, I've reached out for counselling, but it takes like 6 months to actually.
Oh my gosh, seriously?
Yeah, it takes a long time to like get the appointments. I mean, I remember Faye did say in a TikTok one time that she thinks going to like a less prestigious medical school is good because. Hey guys, today I'm joined with a very special guest, Hiba from Hiba. You might have seen her channel. She's a medical student at Manchester.
My name's Hiba. I'm a 4th year medical, actually I'm going into my 5th year now. I'm a 5th year medical student at the University of Manchester.
Okay, yeah, and today I thought it'd be a really cool video, especially because it's approaching like application season, UCAS and stuff, for us to kind of talk about both Manchester and Newcastle med schools, so you guys can see where you'd want to apply. So I thought it'd be funny to do like a little point system, like each med school that's like the better option or the easier option to get into will get a point, and then at the end there's like a winner, but really there's no winner, it's just whatever's best for you. Was Manchester your first choice?
Manchester was not my first choice, no. But only because I live in Manchester, like I'm from Manchester originally and I wanted to move out, like move to a different city, and that's the only reason it wasn't my first choice. I
think for me Newcastle was my first choice for similar reasons. Like I wanted to be close to home, like nearby, somewhere that I could move out but also like visit home if I needed to. So yeah, what were your like entry requirements? Do you remember? Like what GCSEs and stuff did you need?
I'm not sure how much has changed since when I applied. When I applied, you needed at least 6 or 7 A's at GCSE, 3 A's at A level minimum, and for the UCAT you need to be in the top 3 deciles, unless you're part of like widening participation.
Newcastle, it's quite different. Like they don't look at all at your GCSEs. Like
do they not?
Yeah, no, they really don't care. I think as long as you've passed, you're fine. But for the UCAT, they're really UCAT heavy. Like you need like a really high score. I don't know what decile, but definitely like the top scores. Okay. What would you say is easier to get into, Manchester or Newcastle?
I think it would just depend on what you've done better on. So if you've done better on the UCAT, it would probably be easier for you to get into Newcastle.
So I guess that's a point for Newcastle, like easier to get into. In terms of like the size of your year group, what sort of size is it? Like is it quite a big med school or a small one?
So Manchester is actually the biggest medical school in the UK. I'm not sure how many people are in each year at Newcastle, but in Manchester there are 400 people, around 400 people in each year.
That's a lot, yeah.
I've just finished my 4th year now, and I was just telling Christina earlier that we change our groups. Even now in my 4th year, when we just last changed our group, I still met people that I hadn't known before, ever seen before, even though we've been on the same course at the same medical school for 4 years now.
Yeah, I'm getting confused now. Newcastle is... Newcastle is also like a very big med school. We've got like 300 and a bit. It changes every year, but yeah, it's similar to Hiba. Like every single year I'm meeting new people, or each time I change placements there's like a new set of people I've not met before. So I think there's definitely pros and cons to having a big year group. What would you say some of the cons are of like having a big year group?
I'd say like sometimes it can feel like it's not as like friendly and like a cozy environment, if you get what I mean. As I mentioned, like one of my top choice was actually not Manchester, it was Holyoke Medical School, and only because it was quiet. It had like a smaller, nicer, more like homely environment, whereas at Manchester sometimes it can feel a bit too like busy. No one really knows each other that well.
Does that make sense? I think it can be harder to make friends with it being so big, because it's kind of like you get a bit lost. Whereas if it's like a PBL university where like you're always seeing the same group, you'll definitely build a connection with that PBL group. I think having a big year group means that there's loads of people that you'll meet. Okay, I wanted to touch a little bit on freshers or like first year, because I know for you guys applying that's what you'll be like going straight into. So how was your like first year experience? Like just a general like, overview.
I think the transition from A levels to the work at medical school was quite big. Manchester is a PBL university, but
I didn't know that, is it? I thought it was integrated.
Primarily PBL, like they call themselves a PBL university.
We're like integrated, or like case-based, which is just integrated. But my friend at Holyoke, she's like mainly PBL, like not as many lectures.
Yeah, I think Manchester is also, like you do have lectures at Manchester, 5 or 6 a week, that's it. But some people I know have like 5 or 6 a day.
Yeah, true. That was us in first year. We had a lot of lectures.
In terms of like the social aspects, there's like loads and loads of societies. I think there's over 230 societies. In terms of like the nightlife and stuff in Manchester, I actually lived at home in my first 2 years, so I can't really comment on that.
Yeah, for me it was very similar. Like I struggled a little bit with the workload initially. Like for the first few weeks they were just giving us kind of like a recap of A-level biology, so it wasn't too bad. But then yeah, I mean the amount of lectures that we had, like Hiba said, like we were getting like 4 lectures a day, 5 lectures a day for first year. And yeah, there's so many societies, like there's so many opportunities to make friends, but like I said, you can get a little bit lost because there's so many people. So yeah, I'd say try and like make friends with your flatmates or your course mates and stuff.
Yeah.
In terms of clinical years, how would you rate like the teaching? Like whose teaching is best?
I would say, I don't know about Newcastle, but I feel like the teaching in Manchester in clinical years can be extremely good, and sometimes it can be the opposite. It really does depend. I don't think this is kind of the fault of the medical school in a way, because of how big the medical school is. It's just inevitable that they do have to send you to completely different hospitals and completely different GP placements. They can't possibly put everyone in the same teaching environment, so sometimes you do end up with someone who's like a doctor who's really keen to teach you, and he'll spend a lot of time, even work overtime to literally teach you, and then sometimes you'll be placed with a doctor who just isn't really that keen on teaching.
At Newcastle it's similar, like depending on which hospital you go to, like you could get really good teaching or not as great teaching, but we kind of get to choose what hospital we go to, but not really. You don't get to say I want to go to this one. You have to rank them, and then they'll try their best to give you that hospital. Okay. Is it the same for you?
No, I think unless you have mitigating circumstances, you can't say what preference you have for your hospital.
Really?
I did, because I was living at home, and that counts as a mitigating circumstance for the first year.
Okay.
But yeah, apart from that, they just give you a placement randomly.
We don't have like a base hospital situation.
Do you
like,
not?
No.
Is it just one hospital?
You're there for the year, and then it changes each year.
So we have like in first year we get told what our base hospital will be in third year, and that's going to be our base hospital from third year to fifth year.
Oh.
So
wow.
Base hospital means like they can send you out to all of the district generals associated with that hospital,
and that's where you are for years 3 to 5. Oh, ours is a bit different. So it's like each year you rank what would your options be for like a certain like general area, and there's a few different hospitals in that area, and each year you can choose, but you can't choose. They'll just allocate you, but you'll rank them. Do you get accommodation for your placements?
We do, depending on how far they are. At Manchester you have your base hospital, right?
Yeah.
And you can be sent to hospitals like around that base hospital.
Oh.
If it's like really far out from your base hospital, they'll offer you free accommodation.
Oh.
And if it's really far out, if you don't want to take the accommodation, you'll get an alternative of a £5 a day travel bursary.
Okay, that's a bit different to ours. So we do get a travel bursary. I think it's like £300 for everyone, regardless of where you go. But there's not really anywhere that offers free accommodation. Like you have to pay your rent, and you're there for the whole year as well. So
we also get a travel bursary at the start of the year as well, only in clinical years.
That sounds a lot better than ours. I think Manchester probably gets the point for accommodation and stuff. But I think in terms of the quality of teaching, it sounds like it's pretty similar. Yeah. So yeah, that's good to know. Okay, moving on to exams. Do you want to just briefly touch on what your exams are like? In first and second year, the majority of the exam load is kind of like paper based. So you have the progress test, which is an exam that you sit every single year. Even if you're in first year, it's going to be the same exam that the fifth years are taking. Is that like yours? No, okay. Oh, so basically everyone fails it in year 1. It doesn't really matter in year 1 and 2. Yeah. Basically all it wants to show is kind of your progressing. So in first year, the first time you sit it in that first January, I failed that, but it doesn't really matter, everyone fails that. Apart from that, the main exams that you have in first and second year are called the semester tests, and this is going to be based on your PBL content. So this is like the main exam that you have to pass. It's not going to be anything that you shouldn't know at this point. And basically you've got no excuse. You have to pass. And then in first and second year you also have an OSCE. This you only have at the end of the year, so in May, June, that time. A bit different to the OSCEs that you'll have in third, fourth and fifth years. It's not that clinical. For our exams, So they're similar in some. I think the OSCEs, they're very similar to ours. Like, you've got them in every single year, but it's a bit more serious and intense in years 3, 4 and 5. For our written exams in first year, we don't have that progress test where
you
it's
don't
like,
know.
no.
I thought every university did that.
No, we don't have that. The exams that the first years get is very different to the 5th years.
Oh, okay.
For first year, it's very like, I don't know, like SBA sort of style. Like, they're asking about molecules, proteins. Like, there's a little bit of clinical knowledge that you need to know in first year, but it's mainly like physiology.
Yeah.
And then
that's the same with like our semester tests.
Yeah.
They're going to be like your PBL content, your like basic science.
Yeah.
And they are also multiple choice as well. At Manchester, we also have quite a emphasis on our portfolio, like we call it the PPD portfolio. Yeah. Do you call it PPD as well, or is that
just
from Manchester thing? No, okay. Yeah, so that is also like, it's considered to be like an examination, and if you do fail that like 2 times in a row, you do get like excluded from the program.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So we have like a point system. Like, if you're like, I don't know, if you miss a lecture, you get a point, or like your skirt's too short, you get a point.
Oh my god.
So
seriously?
if you got too many, it has to be quite a lot, but if you get too many, you just get, I think it's a, I don't know, because I've never been told off for it.
I mean like professionalism. I mean like the writing like reflective pieces and your
really.
Yeah.
Oh,
do you have like you have a portfolio, don't you?
Yeah, but like no one marks it.
Oh, okay. No, that is very heavily looked at.
Oh wow. So if you fail that twice, you have to exit the program?
Yeah, if you fail that twice in a row, like 2 years in a row.
Okay. That's cool. I feel like maybe Newcastle gets the point. Yeah. That sounds very intense. What's like a typical placement week for you now? Like as a 4th year going into 5th year?
For placement in 4th year, I think you won't really have any full days. It's usually only half a day. I don't really know how to describe it because it very much depends on which specialty you're in.
Yeah.
In 4th year at Manchester is when you go into all the specialties. So 3rd year is basically the general. 4th year is when you go into like pediatrics, obs and gynae.
I mean, we do our specialities in 3rd year though. Like, we do obs and gynae, mental health, peds in 3rd year, and then in 4th year it's just, I think, a few more specialties.
I noticed that because like when I've been watching your YouTube videos, I feel like Christina's always like on the same rotation. Literally, this year
really?
you've always been on the same rotation as me. But obviously, like you're in a different
year
below.
Yeah, true. So okay, that's interesting. I guess Newcastle gets a point for that. But then maybe it's bad because they're introducing like hard stuff too soon.
Yeah, I feel like I prefer it the Manchester way for this one, just because like you kind of do need to know like the
basic,
like your basic respiratory, cardiac.
My friend at Hull York also does the specialities in 4th year as well. So I feel like Newcastle is probably the only one that does it.
Yeah, maybe.
Really
I wonder why. It's not in a meme way.
The next one was, do you wear scrubs?
Yes, so we have uniforms. We didn't used to, but post-COVID they introduced scrubs.
Same with us. Okay, we both get scrubs, so we both get a point.
Are you keeping up with these points? Because I'm genuinely not.
No, I'm not. I feel like you've got more points.
I don't think I have.
You don't think you have? Okay.
I think we might be equal though.
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
I'm sitting on a bad boy piece of information.
So the next thing is accommodation. I know you said that you lived at home in first year, but do you have a rough idea of like how much rent would have been?
I do, and I have like a video on this on my channel if you guys want to go and watch that.
Go check that out. I'll link it below. Because at Newcastle for first year I was paying like 500 a month, which I think is normal for a first year, to be honest. Would have been.
I think that would be around the same.
Yeah, it's normal.
From what I can remember.
First year is quite expensive, but it does get cheaper as you leave first year accommodation. Okay, the last one I wanted to touch on is like workload. Like, how would you rate the workload?
I think the workload doable in all years. I think first year it takes a while for you to get a grasp of like how much detail you're meant to go into for all of the things that you're meant to be learning. I think the only year that I've found like was really intense was just this last fourth year. So it's quite intense. There's a lot of content in 4th year. broke down very many times throughout the year, but it's okay.
I survived. I agree. I think the workload, I think it's set up well, because first year you feel overwhelmed, but really first year is kind of like the easiest of the years, and like as you get on,
I'd do anything to go back to first year.
It builds up from there. Like in third year, what I've just finished, I struggled quite a bit because you have to go on to placement for quite a lot of hours, and then you have to find spare time to like revise afterwards. So in terms of support available for students, the med school does try, and like they always push out emails with links of like counselling and like helplines that you can call. So there is support available, but I'd say for us it takes quite a while to like get access to it. Like I've reached out for counselling, but it takes like 6 months to actually
my gosh, seriously?
Yeah, it takes a long time to like get the appointments, but the support is there, it just takes a while.
I think it's the same at Manchester in that they do always send you like emails, and I think the support is a lot more rapid at Manchester. I remember like one time, honestly,
that's good. That's good.
I do remember like looking for like counselling appointments.
Yeah.
And you can go like literally the next day. So
you're joking?
No, honestly.
Oh, that would be so good.
Yeah, I will have to say they do really look out for you. Like I've had times where I've felt really burnt out after exams, and there is a lot of support.
Oh, that's good to know. Yeah. Manchester definitely gets to the point with support though. So yeah, we'll touch on a little bit like prospects after you graduate and stuff. What are like the options at Manchester?
I feel like regardless of what university you go to, the prospects are kind of the same. If you have a medicine degree from the UK, whether it's kind of like from Oxford or whether it's from like Hull, York or Kiel or something like that, like it really doesn't matter. Yeah, I feel like the only difference would be is in like, say if you were going to somewhere like Oxford, you may have like links or get to know people who may be able to like point you, have connections and point you in a better direction. But apart from that, I think it is quite a level playing field.
I agree. I mean, I remember Faye did say in a TikTok one time that she thinks going to like a less prestigious medical school is good, because apparently your ranking is based on your med school. So if you go to like Anglia Ruskin, where maybe it's less academic, and you rank number 1, that's easier than if you go to Oxford and rank number 1. And it's they see it as like you're all number 1 sort of thing. So what are your thoughts on that?
I think that's very clever. That's
it's a good
way to think about it.
So as Hiba and I were finishing off the video, we realised that our trains were literally like 10-11 minutes like away, so we had to hurry up and finish off the outro. So here is a very, very rushed end to the video.
So that was the end of the video, guys. I really hope you enjoyed, and let me know if there's any comments or questions that you have down below. And make sure to watch Hiba's video where we I
made a video on cost of living in Manchester.
Yes, and we've just filmed a Love Island related video, so make sure you watch that over on Hiba's channel. I'll link it down below. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for watching.
Bye. I tend to do that. Right, okay.